Now, we will discuss biostatistics. What is biostatistics? We collect data. Question is why we collect that data? We need to summarize that data, we need to interpret that data. But why? The reason is we want to improve the health status of our community. We want to reduce the incidence of disease. We want to reduce the burden of disease. To reduce the burden, we need that data. We need to collect that data. And then we will implement certain measures to improve the health status of community and to improve our health systems. That's why we need statistics. We need data. We will start with biostatistics. We will discuss this session according to following learning objectives. What is definition of biostatistics? What are various uses? What is data? What is collection of data? Definitely, if we want to collect data, there must be some sources. What are sources of data? Then we need to classify that data. We need to classify variables. In the end, we will summarize the session. Statistics, it's a science of compiling, classifying, and tabulating numerical data. Then we express the results in mathematical and graphical form. Results are expressed in tabulated, in graphics, in charts form. What is biostatistics? There are many definitions of biostatistics. We can say science of collection, summarization, analysis, interpretation of data related with health, related with human beings is called biostatistics. Or we can say that it's a branch of statistics that is concerned with mathematical facts and data related with biological events. Biological events, events that occur in human beings, like disease events. We need to collect data regarding disease so that we can control that problem. Stats is basically science of facts and figures. What is constant? Certain constants are used. They are qualities that do not vary. They don't change. They remain same. In biostatistics, we assume that mean, standard deviation are constants. What are variables? Characteristics that differ with time to time, like height may differ, weight may differ, blood pressure may differ. Also, we can say that serum cholesterol is also a variable. So these are the constants and variables. There is a term used parameter. It is a constant that describes the population. Parameters are those which we set in our study that describe our population. Like in a college, there are 40% girls, or we can say that in a college, there are 60% boys. They describe the population, they describe regarding population. So it's a parameter. What is statistics? That is constant. That describes the sample. That, for example, out of 200 students of the same college, there are 45% girls. Or we can say that out of 200 students, there are 55% boys in the college. That is statistic. That shows some data. Attribute. Characteristic that based on the population that can be described into categories or classes. Like we use certain categories, gender, socioeconomic status, religion, caste system. They exist in our society. We use to describe them. And there are certain uses of biostatistics. What is major use? To test whether there is difference between two populations. This difference is real or not, or it may be due to some error. Sometimes different exists, but sometimes different is due to certain error, like sampling error, like observation error, like experimental error. And then to study the correlation between attributes, correlation between two population or correlation in the same population, like a population of a medical college. We need to study correlation between girls and boys, or to evaluate the efficacy of vaccines. We need to evaluate the efficacy of vaccines like COVID. There are so many vaccines available in the market. We need to evaluate which one is best, which one is best for prevention, to measure mortality and morbidity. We measure certain data regarding mortality, regarding death, why these deaths are occurring, due to which reason, and morbidity, burden of disease, what is incidence, what is prevalence of disease. Then to evaluate the achievements of public health programs. We need to evaluate our programs. We need to monitor our programs, whether they are successful or not. Like Corona Control Program of Pakistan is achieving success. We need to evaluate our program. Then we need to make changes. We need to make certain changes. Like DOTS is a program to control tuberculosis. With time, with growing population, with growing number of cases, we need to make some changes in our program. We evaluate program on the basis of this data. Then we need to prioritize. First, we identify the problems. Then we prioritize the problems. Like in corona vaccination, there are so many problems. Like there are myths, lack of education, lack of awareness, availability of vaccine. Which problem we need to prioritize? We prioritize according to problems. Then we make solutions to help and promote health legislation. We do certain legislations. Like if burden of smoking is increasing, smoking related diseases are increasing like COPD, we need to legislate. We need to ban smoking and to create administrative standards. Why to create administrative standards? Health system is run by administration. Administration governs. Administration trains the worker. Administration provides funds. We need to raise their standards. These are the uses of biostatistics with facts, with figures, with data. We know what are the problems. Then we create solutions. We recommend solutions. We recommend changes. There are two main statistics, descriptive and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics, they describe. Inferential, we generate inferences. Like we say that hemoglobin, mean hemoglobin of our population is 10. It describes the hemoglobin. But when we say that our population has anemia, 10 hemoglobin is less, this is inference. Let's assume that this is the total population. Always remember, we need to take a sample for some study because we can't take data from the whole population. It is almost impossible. So this is total population. We draw a sample from this population. This is sample population which has the same characteristics as the total population. Ideally, sample should be 10%. We draw a sample, we study this sample. When we study this sample, we describe a certain data like mean weight of our population is 70 kg. We describe, then we apply these results on total population. We apply these results on the basis of sample. Results generated in the sample are applied on total population. They are inferential statistics. They create inference. These are inferential statistics. Like we say that majority of our population is obese. Majority of our population is underweight. This is inference. So descriptive statistics describe the population or describe the sample. What are descriptive statistics like? Mean, median, mode, they are descriptive statistics. Like we say that mean is 220, median is 210, mode is 200. They describe. And what are inferential statistics? We apply a certain test of significance. We apply a test to test our hypothesis. They test the hypothesis. Like we can say that chi-square test. It tests a hypothesis and say that whether there is difference between two populations or not. Then we can say that t-test. There is z-test. Relative risk. It predicts. It assumes whether there is association or not. So these are the various inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics describe and inferential statistics test the hypothesis. And how we collect the data? Data, what is collection of data? The collective regarded of observation. It is recording of observations of numerical or otherwise is called data. Basically, observations is called data, and demographic data, it comprises of details of population. Demography is the study of population. It's study of composition of population. What is size of population? What is distribution? What is total number of population? Like Pakistan has population of 220 million. Distribution. People are living in urban areas. People are living in rural areas. People are living in hilly areas. People are living in plains. Geographical distribution. Then ethnic groups. There are several ethnic groups in a population. Socioeconomic factors. Our socioeconomic status in a population varies. Low class, middle class, higher class. And trends over time. There are trends of disease. There are secular trends. There are epidemics of a disease. There are slow trends. And data is obtained from census. We do census after every 10 years to collect data regarding our population, to collect data regarding composition of population. And other public service reports, like report of coronavirus, say that there are 30,000 deaths due to coronavirus in the last 2 years. There are 3 million cases of coronavirus. So we collect data from these reports. These reports suggest that burden is increasing, our burden is decreasing. We need to take new measures, whether old measures are sufficient, whether there are loopholes, whether we need to bridge these gaps or not. Depend on the nature of variable. Data can be classified into discrete and continuous, or we can say that data is qualitative data or quantitative data. Qualitative data, which shows quality, like discrete and continuous. It shows the quality, like we can say that A grade, B grade, or C grade, or tall, short. These are the qualities. This is qualitative data. And quantitative data, which shows quantity, like numerical data. Numerical data is quantitative data, like 3 pencils. Blood pressure is 120 millimeter of mercury. Hemoglobin is 14 gram per deciliter. So we can say that data is classified into qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative data, you should remember simply that which shows the quality, like someone is tall, someone has good marks, someone has bad marks, someone is short, someone is obese, someone is thin. And quantitative data, numerical data, which shows figures, like there are 3 pencils, there are 70 chairs in that room. Our mean blood pressure is 120 millimeter of mercury. Our mean hemoglobin is 14 gram per deciliter. It shows the quantity. What are various sources of data? Data is collected from various sources, like experiments. We perform certain experiments. We perform certain randomized controlled trials. We perform certain non-randomized controlled trial to collect the data. Like we want to collect the data regarding use of atenolol, regarding corona vaccine. We need to perform certain experiments. These experiments will provide us the data. Then surveys. We do certain surveys, like cross-sectional surveys, community surveys. They give us the data. Records. We have records. We have hospital records. We have records relating to tuberculosis. We have records regarding malaria. We have records regarding dengue fever. We get these records from hospitals. We say that in the last 10 years, burden of dengue fever is increasing. In the year 2013, there were 10,000 cases, which increase in the year 2015. They become 20,000. These show the trends, increasing trends or decreasing trends. Or we can collect the data of certain cancers from the hospital, like lung cancer, esophageal carcinoma, bladder cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer. This data is available in the hospital because patients are admitted in the hospital. They have record, they have their files. We collect these records from various hospitals to see the trend of the disease. Like we can say that in current scenario, there are many stroke patients in the hospital. We collect data from various hospitals and see that there are 20,000 patients of stroke in the region Sialkot. Then the data can also be classified into primary data and secondary data. What is primary? Data that is collected by investigator himself, and that is collected directly by the investigator. Like I'm interviewing someone, I'm interviewing a person of lung cancer. I am collecting data directly from that person. That is primary data. Secondary data collected from records, hospital records, that can be collected from national identity number, that can be collected from passport office, that can be collected from census offices. This is secondary data that is collected indirectly. So we must remember, data that is collected directly is primary data. Data that is collected indirectly is secondary. So you can write primary, that is collected directly by investigator or researcher, and secondary, indirectly. Records are available. How primary data can be obtained? There are different methods of collecting primary data, like direct interviews. You are interviewing someone, one-to-one, face-to-face interviews. Then health examination. You are doing certain examination, general physical examination, systemic examination. You are collecting the data, like you are recording blood pressure. Blood pressure is increased, or there is low blood pressure. Then questionnaire method. In countries where literacy is high, people used to send questionnaires to people. They fill these questionnaire and provide the data, like data regarding composition, data regarding family, data regarding family history, are used to do household surveys to collect data from different families. You send them a questionnaire, you post them a questionnaire, you can email them a questionnaire, and they can answer accordingly. And there is term variable. Variable means that changes. Remember, there are two types of variables: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative, they show the quality. Like we can say that ordinal and nominal, and quantitative, independent and dependent. These are the two types of variables. Qualitative variables, they are classified into ordinal and nominal. Ordinal, by name, it suggests that those who can be arranged in orders. For example, ranks in army, they can be classified according in an order like lieutenant, captain, major. Our grades are marks. They can be classified in order like A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade. And nominal, which can't be classified in order, like we can say that day and night, hair colors. We can't organize them in an order. Hair color, there can be gray, black, white. We can categorize ordinal data, but we can't categorize nominal data into order. So you must remember the example, ordinal data ranks grades. Nominal data, day and night, hair color, skin color. There are so many examples. Quantitative, independent and dependent. What is independent variable? Variable we can manipulate. Variable we can change. Variable which is in our control. Like, we can give example, dose of a drug. During an experiment, during a trial, dose of drug is in our control. We can increase or we can decrease our temperature during an experiment. We can increase the temperature, we can decrease the temperature. These are independent variables. What are dependent variables? Effects of, these are the effects due to independent variables. Like if we increase the temperature, someone may feel warm. If we decrease the temperature, someone may feel cold. If we increase the dose, someone may get adverse effect. If we decrease the dose, someone may not get well. So these are various types of variables. Now we will summarize what we have discussed. We have discussed biostatistics, their types. We have discussed data, variable. These are the main things to remember after this session. What is biostatistics? Science of collection. After collecting data, we summarize that data. After summarization, definitely we do certain analysis. After analysis, we do interpretation. We apply certain tests of significance on that data. And then we disseminate that data. But this data must be related with human beings, must be related with human diseases. That is biostatistics. In simple statistics, we just collect, analyze, interpret the data. That can be related to anything. Types, descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics just describe. Remember, we need to take a sample from whole population. We study the sample, we observe the sample, we manipulate the sample. Then we apply the results on whole population. When we apply certain tests of significance. We apply certain tests like we see relative risk, we apply chi-square test, we apply t-test. These are inferential statistics. They predict, they assume it is increased or it is decreasing. Descriptive statistics just describe the number, like mean is 220, median is 210, mode is 12. Or we can say that mean hemoglobin of our population is 10. It is just describing the event. We don't know it is higher, it is on lower side. When we create inferences, we say that majority of our population is anemic. That is inferential statistics. Or while applying relative risk, we say that relative risk is 2. This means there is positive. When we say relative risk is 1, we are just describing. When we say relative risk is 2, we are describing. But when we say that there is positive association, we are assuming, we are predicting. These are the predictions. This is the major difference between inferential and descriptive statistics. What is that? A set of observations. We collect data. We can collect data directly or we can collect data indirectly. Directly by the observer, indirectly by the records. What are various types of data? Qualitative data, quantitative data. Simply remember, qualitative data shows the quality. Someone is taller, someone is shorter, someone is obese, someone is malnourished. Quantitative data shows quantity. 70 kg weight, 80 kg weight. Hemoglobin is 16. Hemoglobin is 8. Cholesterol level is 190. This is the quantity. Then what is variable? It changes. Variable tend to change. There are two major types of variable. There are qualitative variables and quantitative variables. Qualitative variable, there are two types, ordinal and nominal. What is ordinal? We can arrange in order in ascending, or we can arrange them in descending order. Like grade, someone is getting A grade, someone is getting B grade, someone is getting C grade. We can arrange them in order. But we can't arrange everything in order like nominal data, like hair colors, skin colors. We can't arrange them in order. These are nominal variables. Or we can say that we can arrange pen in ascending or descending order. This is ordinal variable. We can arrange socioeconomic status. This is ordinal variable. But we can't arrange eye colors. We can't arrange skin colors. These are nominal variables. Then what is quantitative variable? There are two important types of variables that are used in research. They are independent and dependent. Independent variable is in our control. We can manipulate, we can change independent variable. And what is affects is dependent variable. Or we simply say that effect of independent variable is dependent variable. By increasing or decreasing temperature, someone may feel cold or warm. Increasing or decreasing temperature is independent variable, but feeling is dependent variable. Like increasing or decreasing the dose of medicine, increasing or decreasing the dose of levofloxacin, ciprofloxacin. This is independent. This is control of researcher, but affect whether someone gets affect the adverse effects, therapeutic effects, good effects, bad effects. This is dependent variable. That's all.